Well, Scott, even the biggest of the big are still hitting with layoffs, man. We were so close for so long, but GTA 6,
Literally nobody is immune.
no, right? GTA 6 publisher Take-Two to lay off 5% of its workforce and cancel games. Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. Take-Two Interactive has announced that it will lay off 5% of its workforce and cancel some of its games. According to the GTA publisher, the move is to save around $165 million a year. The move that has already been approved by its board also calls for the company to find more efficiencies across the business in order to boost profit margins. It's called GTA 6 next year, Scott. In 2025, the publisher will launch arguably its most significant game ever, Grand Theft Auto 6, which is expected to bring in billions of dollars in revenue for the company. Its predecessor, GTA 5, sold $1 billion in units in a matter of days. Scott. The company said in May of 2023 it had 11,580 full-time employees worldwide as of March 2023. The company estimated that it would incur about 160 to $200 million in charges in connections with the plan, including about 120 to 140 million related to video game title cancellations. Take-Two Interactive expects the changes to be completed by the end of 2024, Scott. Ugh.
Ouch. It makes sense that a business is going to want to slim down. That's always the case. But
Sure.
Is this because GTA 6 is already coming across the finish line now? And a lot of these employees are just seen as redundancy because they staffed up in such a large way. I think that's still kind of indicative of the post-pandemic recovery here.
Yeah, no, absolutely, right? We saw the pandemic hit. Their influx of devs joined studios, and then things changed. People went back to work. They're not playing games as much, but games are still as big as ever, if not bigger, which is the funny part about it all, right? And we're about to get into GTA 6 next year. The online support for that alone will probably be competitive in the world of something like Fortnite. Think about this, right? Their online component is really what's going to sell GTA 6. I think the game, the base game, the story game, dude, I can't wait for. But when I talk to my kids about it, they're like, they don't care. They want the online component, right? They can hang out with their friends, go do whatever the online component has. If you get a glimpse of what GTA 5's online component has, then we get into that game, and then you transition over into something that is a lot more current, right? Not 10 years old at this point and clunky feeling. You can say it's not clunky, but I'm telling you right now, it is clunky compared to today's standards, straight up. The way the gunplay feels.
It's just a movement type.
It is. Well, it is, right? But I guarantee it's going to be different going into GTA 6. They've refined their movement. They've refined the structure. I'm hoping it's easier to get into a party, Scott, and team up to play with all of us. Because,
yeah. I've forgotten, actually, in the 360 era of how difficult it was to get everybody in the same room. Especially if you happen to share a house with people and you're trying to get your roommates to jump in. Oh, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, they need to streamline some of the mechanics to get in. I know a lot of us right now are, obviously, after 10 years, pretty used to how it functions, but it's still a little outdated. It needs to be just easy. Hey, click a button, you're invited, away we go. Instead, you gotta pull up your phone, you gotta go over here, you gotta do this, and you gotta, oh man, I was just, what is happening here? How come we can't get everybody together? But
but the server limits, though, how big does the servers, how big do you think they're going to be in GTA 6? Do you think we're going to support, because I think right now it's capped at 32, it may be 36, but how many players are we going to get into one instance? Because that's the hardest part about trying to join up with somebody.
They're going to have a warehouse full of servers, and then that will allow us to bring in 100 plus people, maybe, right? Because you got to think of the map size alone, how big this map is going to be. We've heard it's about 3 times the size of GTA 5's map. 3 times the size.
Ludicrous size.
Absolutely, right? But at the end of the day, they're looking to cut down so they can bring in more money, which to me, GTA Online brings in so much money for them already. I'm surprised that they're cutting anybody. But when you get the pandemic hit, the rise of devs, and then everybody goes back after things kind of settle down, things definitely changed across the board, right? We've seen layoffs. Well, we've been talking about layoffs for over a year now, Scott. right? Everybody
Oh,
from
yes.
PlayStation to Xbox to now Take-Two to Naughty Dog. Like, there isn't a studio I feel right now that we haven't touched base on that has been hit with layoffs. You can get in the whole Embracer thing, but that's a whole other ball game.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
confounding issue.
But when you get into GTA 6's launch next year, so the 5% of this workforce, are they getting hired back? And the other side too, dude, what games are they canceling? What are they canceling?
That's what really has my mind wondering. Is there other things that there was never going to be an LA Noire remaster, I don't believe, right?
What about a sequel? Right? What about
I would
2?
eat up a sequel gladly.
Give me Bully 2.
Bully. Yeah, well, there's one thing that's clear throughout, no matter what article it is, or we're talking about Take-Two, Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar, they're expecting to pull in the wealth of a nation when this game drops. So it does kind of hurt to see them cut anybody. But at the same time, that company, it does have to behave like a company. So it's an unfair reality of the world that it appears to me that we're not going to keep that same pace of development into the online.
You don't
But it doesn't sound like I'm sure there's a roadmap laid out for a certain amount of time. But is there, well, how long has it been? 11, 12 years of roadmap prepared? A lot of these content inclusions and stuff, they're going to be pulling everybody and anybody into GTA 6 online. And you want Nicki Minaj, you want 21 Savage, we'll see them pop up, I'm sure. And there's a huge amount of work that's going to go into that. So I am a little surprised to see that reduction in workforce.
Well, and that's the thing about it, right? So they've canceled games. So those games that have been canceled then lose that staff too. Like, how much of this isn't just catered towards Rockstar, right? You gotta think about that part. True, yeah. There's other teams on here that are gonna get cut, and I would bank on the fact that those games that were cut are gonna lose that staff, which is unfortunate for anybody to lose their job. And it just seems to be a testament of our time right now in the games industry of everybody's coming in and then everybody's getting laid off. It's just, man, oh man, I can't wait till we're just done talking about it. But at the end of the day, Take-Two is a business, right? And they need to make money. Even when GTA 5 made $1 billion in just a couple days, is that enough for them? Should have been. At least it would be for us. Like, we all know, oh, man, that's a ton of money. But when you have 11,000 people, it's got 11,000 people you gotta be able to pay, keep your lights on, all that infrastructure. How much does that all total up to, right? At the end of the day. And if they can save 160 million, 200 million a year, 165, man, that's a lot of money they're saving. Like, it is insane. And something
it seems like
I'll never have to worry about.
It seems like a drop in the bucket, but this is a large amount of money. It's more than enough to justify cuts, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. But we'll keep you up to date with all of our stuff, too. Make sure you check out itgtv.com.